Broadcasting live from Studio A, this is the Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is that you're listening to this. Thank you for coming and listening and seeing what I have to say, because I usually have some jewels to drop. And today I know I'm definitely gonna ruffle some feathers and maybe step on some toes for everyone who cares to listen past 30 seconds or 2 minutes. All right, what is America? What is America? We know it's a country. We know a lot of issues going on here. We know basically what Americans may comprise of, a different melting pot of people. We know America has a definite questionable and bloody history as a nation. And we have a lot of people who are proud to be here and take full advantage of many opportunities afforded here that we can't have anywhere else. In a nutshell, there's basically what people know of America. But so many things happen on the underlying area, and not just for the current situation, but historically. There are so many things that we here, the citizens, or have come to America, who have no idea of what's really on the underlying foundation of America. But I would like to start off with a couple of things here about America, what we know. It's associated with the red, white, and the blue. The red represents hardiness and valor. It means you bought that business, you're going to get it done. The white is for purity and innocence. That's what people want to basically acclimate themselves to, or they want to be, committed to having that other facade, or they actually want to pursue that or want people to see they're pursuing that. And there's a lot of people that are not innocent, but there are people who actually are. The blue means vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Of course, that's a lot left to be desired. It's always good to have proper justice, but a lot of people know that justice can be skewed, especially here, especially in a capital-driven society, a socio-economic culture that we're in. Justice many times falls through the cracks and only favors certain people who have the proper opportunity and resources to take advantage of those things. Okay, fine. All right. So all these things, the hardiness, the valor, the purity, the innocence, the vigilance, perseverance, and justice, are these things all what we have been experiencing in this country? Truthfully, there's some people who actually wake up every day and do their best. They have it in them, and regardless of what they're going through and things that have been done to them or what other people are doing, there are people, not just in America, in this world, that have that ingrained in them that makes the world proper, because that's how the world is supposed to be made, based on a specific series of order and respect to these things. These things actually personify the order that's in this world that we know, that I always constantly discuss and highlight. But is that what we all have been experiencing? I know that answer is definitely no, because we have people who lack control. We have people who want to have rule over others, that want to hoard resources, people that want to do whatever it is they want to do that, makes them happy for that moment. And there's people who come up with all types of ways and justifications to just roll how they want to roll, no matter how destructive it may be to themselves or anyone around them, right? Now, going further in this podcast here, in What is America? Do we know that we are governed heavily by spiritual and religious traditions? Many people automatically say yes, but I guarantee you it is not the religious and spiritual traditions that you're thinking of that's usually promoted and advertised and tied to Americana lifestyle. We may think that it's built upon Christian principles, and to a degree it was, but then there are other things that are at work here that go further into the weaving of America, that where we want to say that, yes, we're about Christianity up here, but really underneath, in the fabric, in the foundation, it has nothing to do with Christianity. And I'm going to get into that deeper if you care to listen. What's not common knowledge is that America is basically built upon the mystery religions, traditions, and practices of ancient Babylon. Not the one from even Nebuchadnezzar, even that's another rendition of it, but even further back, way back in time, back when Egypt, also known as Kemet, also known as Mizraim, which was one of Noah's great-grandsons and grandsons, and Cush, and also Babylon, run by Nimrod, another one of Noah's grandsons. And all these nations have many things in common. And the thing about that, those things in common now have been passed through eras and civilizations and nations where it now affects us. The things that these countries built upon are based upon those religions and traditions and practices, but we don't know it. That's the crazy part. Now, you may not think it's a big deal. It's very important to understand everything that we do, even the structures of government, the way that buildings are made, the type of culture that's been cultivated here. Even though we could say, yeah, we're a Christian nation, but the practices underlying and the planning for centuries go back further than we think and go deeper than we think and comes from actually a more dubious and a lesser known spiritual foundation. And the thing about that is you have to know that these things affect you. So because many people have the notion of not accepting or resigning themselves to any kind of, this spiritual way of life or religion, understandably, religion is man-made and it's flawed and it's been used definitely, unfortunately, to control, to twist. All these things are true. Yes, because many people are so vocal against Christianity, but they don't understand that they are partaking in religious traditions and they are subject, either willing subject or unwilling subject of these things. And you have to know these things. It doesn't matter if you don't care about it or you don't believe it. Just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it doesn't affect you. Just like I don't believe in gravity. Gravity is going to affect you. You want to go jump off the 10th floor. Gravity is going to affect you. You walking down the street and trip down on the sidewalk, gravity will affect you. You could not believe in something all you want. It's one thing to not accept it, but you have to understand and respect that something is there. Okay? And many people will say it's a mumbo jumbo and hocus pocus, but at the same time, many founding fathers, many people who are considered would be elitists and people who practice these things. Everyday people we see practice these things because they understand the impact of how these things steer people, how it steers lives, how it affects people around, how it affects the energy around us. This, the basic physics that we know is just the tip of the iceberg with these things. And some things we can utilize properly, some things we were not meant to dabble in. The problem is if you stay ignorant to it, you remain ignorant to it, there are people that will use it against you. This is why I'm telling you this, because I'm not always going to talk about just the positive things to influence your mind, to grow yourself. I'm always going to be about that, but there's other factors that you have to be aware of, because you could try your best to do everything that you believe is proper textbook checking off the boxes to lead a successful life and build a company and build a family, and you're falling short and things are happening to you. I am sharing with you today, these are some of the things that heavily influence us, why we can't move forward, why some people move forward, some don't, why they still have things going on. This is a very serious thing. This is something that people have no idea about. We may know a little bit about it, but we just brush it off. Why? Because we have bills to worry about. Why? Because there's Cardi B's out there and Kodak Blacks out there entertaining people. We have movies out there with big stars. We have the music in our ear all the time. We have people doing a lot of dubious things. We have politics. We have everything to divide us and keep us distracted. Yet again, another past podcast where I talked about divisiveness and distracted behavior. Once your focus is off, it's really easy to hide the simple things away from people. These things are basically snuck in. I am always going to talk about Elohim. Elohim has everything out in front of you. Whether you want to accept it or not, it doesn't matter. It's there. Everything is made plain as day. Now you have to wonder, why are certain things hidden from people? Now I can understand you could say national security, or you don't want anyone in your business, but there's many things that are hidden in the shadows. You know, this country has a history of people hiding their faces under hoods and people who hide their true intentions. Many people, you could say that were for Christ, but it had nothing to do with Christ or Elohim with their actions. You can't pinpoint and want to bash Christianity because of the Crusades or the Templar Knights or the KKK. If you really understood what Elohim was about, you would know that these people that claim to do things in his name had nothing to do with him. It's like me putting on a t-shirt that says Mr. Nice Guy, and I go around pushing people down the street and robbing people by gunpoint. Okay? And causing a lot of criminal mayhem. So my thing is that you have to understand what a person is doing if it's in line with what they say it is. I follow Elohim. I try my best to align myself, and I try my best whenever the opportunity presents itself to help guide people towards that. I don't want to stuff it down your throat, because so many people had so much of that, and that's not how you do it. This is not how you want to win people over, but I don't want to win people over. I just want people to understand and have a good look at what's really happening in this world out here. And back to what I was saying, okay, the ways of this world, this nation, is based on a lot of occult and witchcraft spiritualism. And unfortunately, these things are becoming more and more prevalent, and it's becoming more and more accepted as a way of life. Because there's certain, you could say, I'm going to say definites of these things, because they apply, it's an application of the physics. You want to call it metaphysics too, whatever, and sciences that we know of, but we dabble in things, in energies that we don't need to be partaking in because of the source of these things. It's not of anything that's not of the creator will cause destruction. Anything that's apart from the actual way of life, for things to follow through properly, for things to actually move in a certain manner, anything that deviates from that is destructive behavior. It may not be immediate destruction, but it will be in the long run, and it will start to defect from what you were meant to be, what we're all meant to be, what nature and everything is meant to be. It will start to defect. Okay, doesn't mean it can't be redeemed. Doesn't mean that you can't repair the damage, but why go through that? Once you know properly, and there are people who know these things, and they willingly cover it up so they can shroud the truth from you, so they can have control, so they can oppress. Okay, they may say that they want peace. People who practice these things may say they want, unity, but it's all about control. These things are coming from, again, Egypt, Babylon, Samaria, ancient Greece, the Celtics, Rome. We look at all the grandeur designs and things and systems, but we don't look at the really perverse things that these people did. Sexual perverse things, sacrificing people, allowing other spirits to guide them. This is all spiritual stuff. You want to say it's fake or not, but you have to come to a point where you can't be ignorant anymore. Because these are things that affect us every day. The people who founded this country, people who continue to run things, are basing their control over us based on spiritual things. As long as you're in the dark, it doesn't matter. You can't afford to be in the dark. You have to know what you're up against. This is why so much of a struggle, because we are the hardware. Just like any computer or phone that we use is hardware, but in order for it to work properly, you need software. You need the proper software for it. And basically, that's the analogy I can use for spiritual direction and foundation. Spiritual direction is the software. If the software is proper, if it has no bugs in it, no corruption, nothing that's going to inhibit the hardware is going to work fine. Good example is like we could have, I don't know, it may not happen as much now, but there was a time where smartphones would be actually better in Europe and Asia because the software, they made sure they made the hardware a certain way over in that part of the world, and the software was up to snuff, so everything worked properly. Then we get the same exact hardware in America, but for some reason they will restrict the software and the functionality. So we would get something that works, but nowhere near to the capacity where it could be working much better and properly. So that's a good analysis. So you can't just go through life just knowing this a little bit and just applying it and think you're okay. There's so much more you could be doing and should be doing. And you don't know what kind of harm is happening because your hardware is not moving the way it's supposed to. That's basically what it is. The easiest way I could probably think about it, And the crazy part here is that when I was talking about witchcraft and occult being more prevalent, that's mainly through entertainment. The word entertain basically means to keep and maintain a frame of mind. The mind is what will lead to spirit. Entertainment, we know entertainment all the time. We know celebrities. And basically, they may have certain companies and businesses, but basically celebrities don't really affect us properly because they should be telling people how to live a proper, more spiritual life. But how many celebrities that actually tell you to have a relationship with Elohim? I know you may think of famous evangelists, sure, because in a sense, technically, some of them are celebrities. But how many celebrities that are not linked to a church actually tell you about this? They'll tell you about meditation. They'll tell you about yoga. You have to be careful with these things. They'll tell you about all types of stuff. You have so much movies, television shows about witchcraft. Okay? So much television shows about the occult. Comic books. This is entertainment. Okay? The crazy part is we are unwilling, and so much people reject Christ because they say the Bible has been used as a tool as control and is corrupt. Oh, I don't accept that. But we willingly accept the control of entertainment. We willingly accept the control of people, saying it's okay to be a witch. It's okay to live that way. It's okay to do this thing. It's okay for a lot of spiritual things. Let me keep on the track of being, spiritually defunct and spiritually optimal. We have to look at what we're accepting. We pay billions and trillions of dollars a year to be entertained. We say, oh, it's just music. It's just a movie. It's just TV. It's just an advertisement. Are we better off for it? That's the question. Are we actually better off for it? There's a lot more angry people out there. There's a lot more road rage. There's a lot more children acting up against their parents. A lot more kids shooting up schools. We had bullies, when I was way younger and then generations before me, but not to the level we got now. We had it, yes, there's a lot of terrible things that happened. I'm not excusing anything else that happened in the past, but we have more things that affect us. And to feel that music does not affect us, you're being ignorant. To feel that movies don't influence us, you're being ignorant. It behooves you to understand what you're dealing with. The more you are away from certain things, the more clear your mind will be. So you can be someone who is aware of these spiritual things, who's aware of these occult things and how it affects us. And when you actually see these things, you know how to guard against it. You know to stay away from it. You know what to look out for. But the regular person who doesn't care about spirituality or religion like that because we've been dumbed down to ignore these very important things in our life. We accept anything, accept everyone, accept love, and love everything and everyone. No, you can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't just accept any old thing to come into your life that's going to affect you. Even if you feel like that doesn't affect me, it affects you some way, shape, or form. Everything here on this earth and the universe is energy transfer. You're either giving out energy or taking in energy. Even if you're not even actively reacting directly, it's all about energy transfer. Everything is based on mathematics. Everything is based on frequencies. We have to understand this. There are people out here who know these things, and they use it against you every day. There are people who study these things. What do you think advertising is? That is a quadrillion-dollar industry where people go to school to specifically learn what's in your mind, to know what colors to use, what fonts to use, what sounds to use. There are people who specifically study these things. There are people who study these things to get money, people who study these things on a spiritual level, to get your mind and your soul so they can steer you and society and everything that you're about a certain way. We have to be more vigilant. We can't just go through life worrying about bills. We can't just go through life just wanting to love and accept everything and everybody. It comes to a point now where you're going to have to make a stand. What is America? We have so many structures that we can see that are evident if you are so inclined and educated to realize these things. The capital of America, Washington, D.C., District of Columbia. Columbia is basically America's goddess. And you look at the designs. Many people know these things. You could Google it, YouTube it, whatever documentary there. I know for a fact you go to certain libraries, there's going to be literature on these things. It's out there. You have to understand what you're dealing with. You have to understand what ground you're walking on, physically, spiritually, and mentally. You have to understand that these are things that affect us and have been affecting us. You have to know how to combat that so you can unlock more potential for your life the way that Elohim wanted you to do. Okay? There was something else that I wanted to say, but now I cannot remember it. Oh, yes. Okay, well, as I said, what is America? It's all those things. There are people in this world that are about what the red, white, and blue represent, like I said earlier. America, this nation, has very occult beginnings that we have to understand, that we have to start taking a stand. It's not just a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing, okay? It's very real. You could say it's hogwash all you want, but the people who are running this world, they know it's not hogwash. So you could ignore it all you want. Just because you ignore it doesn't mean it's not going to affect you. That's the worst thing to do, is to close your eyes and just let things happen. But the Father put it in all of us. It's up to us whether we accept that ingrained rule in us, what he wants us to do. There are people who've never gone to church or don't even really believe in going to church, but they are more in tune with what the Father put inside of them. For being truthful, for being forthcoming, for being a transparent person, for helping others, for looking to fix whatever they can wherever they go, to improve other people. There are people who have that ingrained in them, not because they just happen to be born a great person on their own accord. No, it's in them. Whether they accept Elohim and Yeshua or not, it's ingrained in many. That's why so much of us have a standard of what is right. We don't just think this up. We don't just conjure this stuff up. It's in us already. It's about also us combating our wicked ways or the wicked ways of the world. What gets pulled out and what gets practiced more? Do I want to be selfish? Do I want to be destructive? Do I want to just do what I want to do, how I want to do it? Or do I want to help other people? Do I want to love my life, help other people enjoy and love and make the most of this life? There are going to be people who's going to make it at the end of all this, when everything's all said and done in heaven, that probably never even stepped a foot in church. There's going to be a lot of people who've been going to church their whole life that's not going to be there because their mind isn't there, because they haven't really gotten in touch with what the Father wanted you to do. Now, I'm not saying just do what you want to do, you're going to end up in heaven. Stay in tune and understand what the Father wants. Understand who Yeshua is, so you can learn to weed out all the trash, so you could see what's been going on and why it's been going on. The better you are armed with knowledge, the better you can make proper moves and avoid the traps that the enemy has for you. I'm telling you this because people don't talk about these things. People talk about many of the things about America, but no one talks about this right here. Is it taboo? Is it because people don't believe in it? You can not believe it all you want, but the people who made this nation here, not everyone, but so many people that run this thing, this world, they believe in this because they know it's truth to it. Okay? So you can go ahead about your life and feel that it's not going to affect you. It has affected you and will continue to affect you. But again, Elohim is greater than anything that anyone could ever do. Understand who he is. Lean upon him. Learn to talk to him. Learn to find out who he is. Once you find out who he is, you will know who you are, because we all come from him. We get our identity from him. So once you know who he is more, you'll be more confident. Anyways, that's all I got. Hopefully I raised eyebrows, and hopefully I allowed you to think a little bit more. I hopefully armed you as well with more information and knowledge to make this world better and to understand what's going on. Anyways, check me out on my website at www.brooklynbaritone.com. Check me out as well on my YouTube channel, Brooklyn Baritone. I am also on Instagram and Facebook. You can also catch me on the Google Play Store and the iTunes Play Store. You will hear from me next week. Thank you for listening. I want you guys to be blessed and walk good. I love you all. Take care.